Hello everyone. My project for Intelligent Robotics 1 is learning processes. The goal for this project is to replicate user hand gestures on a robotic arm. In this project, the hardware I used is Raspberry Pi Camp version 2, PCA 9685 servo motor module, and this robotic arm from InMove Robot. This arm has 6 motors in total. There are 5 motors controlling each finger and one motor which controls the rotation of the wrist. All these motors are servo motors of Futaba S3003. To control the fingers, the strings are connected to these motors and the fingers. The tension in the string either curls up the finger or opens it up. The problem with the structure is that sometimes there might be some loose ends, and that is why we cannot get precise movement of the fingers. To test the movement of the fingers, I created a simple Arduino code. So you can see this code. In here, I'm using this servo library available for Arduino and created objects of this servo class for each finger. These fingers indicate respective servo motors, and this code simply tests each finger, its rotation, its movement from 0 degrees to 180 degrees, which is basically from position open to position close of the finger. So this way we get to know about the working of the fingers and the motors and the relation. This program has 3 steps. In setup, it will initialize the module and do a self-test in which it will initially set the values of each objects to 0, which will be its open position, and then it will do a self-test. In that self-test, each finger is separately controlled. It will call this self-test, and it will pass the finger object to this movement test, and it will move the finger from 0 degrees to 120 degrees, which will be open to close. It will do this for each and every finger, and once it's done, the setup is done, and it will go into the main code, where in this code, it's a simple code. It takes few arguments from user, and whatever the user inputs, it will display a similar gesture. The gestures will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, scissors, rock, stone, Spider-Man, and some of these. All these gestures are same implemented for uh, detection and replication. So once my training testing with the motors was done with Arduino, I started with the CNN model, which is used for machine learning. Any machine learning requires a training set. The training set is nothing but the set with which the model is trained to predict some values, predict a required labels or values, we can say that. So we will be in need of training set, which is why I created one Python script to gather all those training set. This gathering data has has a Python script which will help us to gather uh, images for the training set. So what this does is it will notify the user what gesture it is being recorded, and it will create a folder with the user's name and subfolder with the gesture name, and it will tell the user which gesture it is being recorded and please make that gesture, and those gestures will be saved into its respective gestures subfolders. And this code does is what it will create 200 images of one gesture. Here we will be training our model to detect to classify 10 separate gestures. So this Python script records 200 images for one gestures, and since there are 10 gestures in total for one user, there are 2000 images. Using this script, I gave this script to my family members, my friends, my roommates, and out of all of them, I received 7 volunteers who gave me their data set, who used this code and gave me the data set. Using this script is very simple. You just need to have OpenCV library installed on your machine, and then you just run the code. When you run the code, it will ask you for your name. Here I'll write test, and if you can see, it has created a test folder, and whenever the user is ready, it will ask us to enter. So now it shows two windows, and it asks us to place our hand in the blue box, and once we place it, we can hit spacebar to run the code. Okay, so now it shows the emoji which is it is capturing, and we have to keep our hand in the box until it captures 200 images, and once it's done, it will notify us, and it will this way hit spacebar to continue, and it will start recording. Next is one, so we have to do this, and it will start recording as well. Similarly for 2, 3, 4, 5, Spider-Man, rock, thumbs up, and OK. This way, all the gestures, 10 gestures are saved in this test folder with their respective names, like this. Here, I did not save all the 200 images, but for let's say rock, it saved 0. It saved all the 200 images. This way, the dataset generation is done. Using this dataset, I bifurcated them in three different datasets: one training set, one validation set, and one testing set. To train the model, create a model and train it with the training sets, I created a Jupyter notebook which is available in training model and main.ipynb. So in this, before running the script, I created some, as I said, I created some more data set, which were training set, testing set, and validation set. So those sets are available in this data set directory: train, test, and valid. The importance for these sets is the training set is the actual set with which the model will be trained. Validation set is taken from the main data set itself, but the point of validation set is while training, it will also try to predict validation data, and with that, it will also give us accuracy and loss of the validation data. So while training, with all this information, we can process if the model is being overfitted or not. Overfitting is a problem when the model is so perfectly trained that it can predict the given test data set perfectly, but anything outside that it is unable to classify. So validation set helps us with that, and testing set is something. It's a simple. It's another set taken from the main data set with which we'll be testing our final trained model. But there is one more rigorous training done in the later steps. So back to training the model. Here initially we need to create that neural CNN model. I use Keras for training the neural network model. Here I'm using image dataset generator, which is available in Keras pre-processing image. Use of this method is it will create batches of our data set and training set, and the help it is helpful because in training while training, the model is trained for a defined number of epochs. In each epoch, it will the model will be trained for all the images available in the training directory, but training it with the same image every time might cause it to overfit. So with this image dataset generation, we are doing is rotating the image with a range of 40 plus or minus 40 degrees, zooming in or out with this set of range. And before we pass our image to the neural net model, it needs to be pre-processed. Pre-processing is done to reduce some noise and just to have our required features with it. So this this image dataset generation generator will do is what it will create batches from the training directory with this batch size defined of target size, and each time it creates batches for different epochs, it will shuffle the input image, training image, and pre-process it, and also like it will zoom in or zoom out with different range for each epoch. So once it runs, it will give us how many images are there belonging to how many classes in that directory. Here, the CNN model I'm using is MobileNet. Reason for using MobileNet is its top 1 accuracy is 0.70 and top 5 accuracy is 0.84. So, but the MobileNet model is trained to detect, to classify 1,000 different classes. If you can see in this one, its last layer contains 1,000 neurons, but we just need to be able to classify 10 different labels. So we update the last six layers, cut the last six layers from the neural network, and add our 10 units to it, 10 neurons in the output to it. So our new output layer will look something like this. Once it's done, we compile the model with define its learning rate and cut losses, and then we start its training process. So in training process, we give X validation data, epochs, and verbose. X is the training batches, which is the main with which the model will be trained. Validation set is we give our validation data to this um, input, and epochs is number of it can also be considered as number of steps. So for the 10 number of steps, it will be trained, and verbose is how much information we want in the output, which is this. So after each in this code, what I'm doing is I'm running this um, training process for 25 times, and each for each time it the training runs for 10 epochs. The reason for this is training takes a lot of computational power and GPU. So if any hardware failure or maybe a failure of a laptop might cause the training to go to waste. Like let's say I set my training to be for 250 epochs, and at some point in time it has done till 200 epochs or 249 epochs. Only one epoch remains. At that time there is a power loss, so all my training might be wasted, and it might get lost. That's why I run the training for 10 epochs, save the model, and then again run it for another 10 epochs. Do this for 25 times. So which will so in the end I'll get the training for 250 epochs. As you can see in each epoch, it gives us a loss and accuracy of training set, and similarly loss and accuracy for testing set. Initially, the training loss is high and accuracy is pretty low. Same for the validation set. But as it gets trained further and further, losses are decreased and accuracy is getting increased. Similarly for validation set. And in the end, we can see that after 250 epochs, the loss is zero point 0.01 and accuracy is 0.99 9969, and a loss for validation and is also very low, and accuracy is pretty good. Since Since both losses and accuracy are similar of training set are similar to validation set, we can say that there has been no overfitting problem. If the case was loss and accuracy for training model was high, but the loss and accuracy for validation model was pretty low, something like validation loss was zero point 0.5 or somewhere, and validation accuracy was very less, then we could have said that it is able to predict the training data accurately, but not the validation data. In that case, overfitting problem might have occurred. After training it, we test it with our 200 images separately taken from our original data set to test it. And here we plot a confusion matrix. As you can see, it is able to detect all the input and input images correctly. The left axis, the y-axis is the actual y-axis is the actual label, while the x-axis is the predictor label by the model. We use the same model for testing it with live video, and here we convert the this Keras model is in H5 format. We convert it to TF Lite because we'll be running this program on Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi has very less computational power, so for a faster processing, this is must. After training the model, it was further tested with another different data sets, another different data sets for rigorous testing, and a similar confusion matrix was created. The confusion matrix folder, you can find that code. In this testing set, there were four different types of data set. One was simply taken from our original data set generated. The next set was a simple set which didn't have much rotation of hand or much translation of the hand. In the third testing set, it had very high values of rotation and translation of the gestures. And in the fourth dataset, it had fourth testing set, it had background noise with huge translation and rotation of the gestures. So if you can see in this, similar to training set, is it is the first testing set. Um, it was taken from our original uh, data set, which was used to train our model. In the second testing set, there is not much translation or rotation of the hand. So this with this testing set, the model is supposed to predict a very should have a very high accuracy. In the third testing set, there is no background noise, but there is extreme rotation. As you can see, initially we see the um, initially we see the front of the hand, but later in the later images it goes to sides and even to back. With this, we see how much our model is trained to predict something which was not used for training. And the last set is with huge background noise. If you can see in these images, there is huge background noise coming from the another light source. We tested our model with these testing set. So we created confusion matrix for this. So it performed very accurately with the testing set which was taken from the uh, training set itself. In the second set, it was supposed to classify most of the images correctly. It was a simple test. It did classify almost all gestures accurately, but it failed to classify thumbs up almost all times, and it did a very bad job classifying rock, but an average job with classifying the gesture 0. But in the other gestures, it was able to classify all the gestures to a very agreeable extent. So here if you can see that the gesture file is every time detected correctly, and same with the gesture OK. The fourth ge- this This confusion matrix corresponds to the testing set which had a very high background noise, and it was expected to perform badly. And here you can see it predicted all the images as okay. In the last this last confusion matrix corresponds to the testing set which had high rotation and translation values. But even with that, it can be seen that it was able to detect um, a pretty average for most of the gestures, but did a very bad job for four. It was not as accurate as the first two testing set, but it did not fail as horribly as it was expected to. So after testing all with some different data sets, we move on to actual detection and replication on the robotic arm. So this is the window for my Raspberry Pi. I'm using a VNC server to replicate Raspberry Pi's desktop on my machine. And now moving on to replication, detection or replication. Here with the hardware again, here is my Raspberry Pi. This Raspberry Pi will be computing the images fed by this Raspberry Pi cam, and it will classify the images, and using those images using that classification, it will pass some value. It will tell this PCM module to rotate the servos to what the extent it needs to, and thus replicating the gestures onto the robot arm. The Python script for detection and replication is very simple and similar to um, classification done for testing and testing done previously. So here in this code, it is responsible for detection and replication. We use this Adafruit PCA 9685 package available for Python. This is officially written by this um, module makers. Using this package, I wrote a class to control each finger separately, and to control each finger, some values need to be passed to the module. Direct angle cannot be passed. That's why, and there should be calculation, which is for um, duty cycle which is required for rotation of the motor. Servo motors cannot be have 100% duty cycle because each rotation or each angle corresponds to some specific duty cycle in the servo motor. So calculation is done in the calculation value function of this class. It will calculate it will calculate values required by the module to have that servo motors rotated to that specific angle. There are some more other methods in this class which will help us replicate the gesture. These methods are just that it gives the required angles to each finger for replicating the gesture. It makes the later code simpler and more cleaner. This get frame function, with this function we get a region of interest from the live video. We do not want another noises and other parts from the live video. That's why we take a region of interest which will be the blue box, and will pre-process it, which as per required for our mobile net neural net model, and then pass it to it for prediction. So in here, the main script will mm, run the program until Q is pressed. If Q is hit from the keyboard, then it will exit the code. And so so this script is simply reads reads a live video. So for every start of this loop, it will capture a picture from the camera, process take the region of interest, pre-process it, and then pass it to the neural network model for prediction here. And whatever the prediction is, it will assign it a label, and that label which will it will correspond to our gesture. The label is directly not passed um, to replicate. It is held for about 5 consecutive counts. This is done because, let's say, in a live video, we are constantly changing our hand gestures, which will cause the prediction to have a very high frequency of changing the output labels. And if we pass directly to the um, arm, it will have unnatural behavior of the servo motors, and even it might damage those motors. So we are waiting for for the model to detect a stable gesture, and once it detects a stable gesture, then it will pass it to the hand to replicate it. So this is simply simple script, and using this script we are doing a detection and replication. So now it will start the serial buses which is required for the PCM module. Once the setup is complete, it will display these images. So initially a 0 is being detected. So it classifies the input image as 0, and it will replicate as per. So let's say we do is okay, it classified as 1, but the problem with these motors is that there is some string here is not tight, which it is not which is why it is not able to show a 1 in there. To do this, I every time need to have it stretched again, put it in back it in its string, and once that is done, it is able to replicate 1, let's say 2. So it classified 2 correctly and replicated it. Let's say 3, it again classified correctly and replicated it. 4, 4, it had trouble classifying it and it classified it as 5 and replicated it as 5. And let's say 5, 5, it is classifying correctly and replicating as well. So let's say we do a rock sign, sorry, Spider-Man sign. So it also was able to classify the Spider-Man sign correctly and replicate it. I think my camera was tilted for the previous one, so we'll go again. So 1, it classifies correctly and replicates it. 2 is also classifying it correctly for some values, but it is a little bit problematic. But let's say 3 it is classifying correctly. 4, it has problem classifying it correctly and it classifies it as 5 and replicates as 5. Then 5, it classifies correctly and replicates correctly. Let's say Spider-Man sign. So this is a Spider-Man sign. It classified and correctly, but there was some tension in the string, which is why this finger didn't move down. And then again there is this problem again, the tension in the string. So there is this problem with the hardware setup. Coming back, we were at Spider-Man, so it is able to detect correctly. It also does Spider-Man correctly most of the time, but there is no tension in the spring, which is why it is not able to go up. Let's say the rock sign, it identifies rock as some stuff which is wrong. Okay, sometimes it does, but most of the time it classifies it very wrong. Let's say for a thumb, it is able to classify thumb correctly, and it also moves the thumb out, which is correct. And for the last gesture, okay, it classifies correctly and also has a good gesture for okay. So this is how detection and replication works. You can see there is a lot of low frame rate. The frame rate is very low. This is because Raspberry Pi has a very low computational power, and for a faster classification, a better processor can be used. Maybe something like a Google board, or even we can use a USB Coral, which is a Google product, which can increase the frame rate and computational power of Raspberry Pi. So basically, this is my entire project where I classify input gestures and replicate it on my arm. So problem with this arm, as I said, there is and the tension in spring is uneven, and which causes the arm to not function as required. Apart from this, currently I have been working on uh, I've been working on classification using this convolutional neural net model. Another thing we can do is with a human brain using some modules which are available in the market for some good cheaper price, which can sense activities in brain, some electric signals in the brain. We can find some areas of the brain which correspond to hand movements, and if possible, if we are able to map that, we can even replicate it on the arm and have a good prosthetic prosthesis for the needy. So this is my entire project. Thanks for watching, and my entire code is available in this GitHub repository. But some programs might not work because it requires a data set. You can create the data set using this gather data script, and set those s- set those data set and use it for training and testing. But the final detect and replicate script which I used for in Python for detection and replication will work anyhow. It won't require, it has the trained model which will classify the input images and replicate it on to the arm. Thank you for watching.